This short video will explore how to structure a literature review for your final project. So how do you structure a literature review? It isn't just a list of what you've read or an annotated bibliography. Don't think you need to include everything you've found on a subject unless there's very little research in this area. You need to be selective. Which are the most relevant? You may find it useful to look at other past reports and dissertations to look at how authors have structured their literature reviews, or even the literature reviews in journal articles. On this graphic you can see there are a number of ways to structure it. One of the most common approaches is a thematic structure, where you group research into key themes. If you go for a chronological approach, you may want to group together and discuss sources according to when they were published, which can be useful if you want to highlight changes and developments in research over time. If you structure methodologically, you may want to focus on the different methods used to study the topic. The funnel model is a popular structure, starting broad and narrowing in. So you may start this section discussing the broad research area, why it's of interest, and then narrowing it down gradually to focus on the specific area that your research is addressing. Once you have a sense of the funnel, it's a good idea to come up with the subheadings which will structure this literature review. Pause the video and go back to the dissertations you looked at in Activity 1 and choose 2 to focus on. Go to Workbook Activity 5. Think about how the authors use the literature, focusing on the questions listed, and spend around 30 minutes on this activity. So now I've got an extract from a literature review, and we can think about how it could be improved. Pause the video and read through the extract. Think about how you could improve this passage. I'm quite critical when reading literature reviews. I would question, studies have shown that, when the author is just referring to one reference. Could you find more research to support this statement? Is it fair to come to this conclusion with just one study? Okay, so we'll look at this second extract. Pause the video again and read through the extract. Think about whether it's critical or descriptive writing. Does the author synthesize what they've read? Okay, so it gives about the right level of description at the start of the paragraph. The author then goes on to synthesize what they have read on the topic and highlight the potential flaws in the gold standard tool. This also demonstrates wider reading to the marker. This section flows well and is well written. Just before I finish this video, I want to share a couple of slides which focus on bringing reading into your writing. As you have seen from the examples earlier, you need to integrate the work of others into your own work, otherwise it can read like a bullet point list. Start a section with your own voice and then go on to paraphrase or summarise the source, and then comment on why this is relevant. At this level you should not be using direct quotes. Make sure you use a citation when paraphrasing, and make sure it's clear to the reader why you've introduced this paper. You can see here a list of verbs which you can use in your own work when referring to other sources, and again this can help with voice. I can tell by the words used whether you strongly agree or are not convinced by an author. Finally, a brilliant resource that can support you with this is the Academic Phrase Bank from the University of Manchester.